Testing job. Testing. Much week. All right, I wrote down some talking points, so hopefully we can get through this. Oh, lots to talk. Hopefully y'all don't mind. The background, that we're not technically reviewing a book today. I thought it was important to talk about what this is, concise manner, and why I think this is important. All the good stuff. Grab my water. Just grab something. Okay. Get some water. Let me grab my notes. Sorry about the noise. Alright, I want to talk a little bit first about what the Aquatic Archive stream is. It's basically a dive into... Dive. Okay, hold on. I got distracted. It is a look into the past of the hobby, where we compare and contrast what people were doing hundreds to tens of years ago, right? Like, so what were people doing in the Victorian era? What were people doing in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s? How does that compare to today? Where have we gone as like a hobby? And just going through fish keeping history and what we can learn and what we can continue to move forward with, right? So, let me go into my notes. Okay. I want to explain about why I think that going through these old books or older books is important, right? So, like, why is Aquatic Archive the thing? Like, what makes fish keeping history important? Well, these books document the evolution of fish keepers, right? So we can look back at books from as far back as the time when people first started keeping fish, which is an amazing thing that we can do. We can look back on like far, far away history. A lot of books that come out of the Victorian era really show us like the beginning of like an organized fish keeping hobby. We can see the techniques and what challenges they had and how they got past them and how they eventually evolved into modern fish keeping, right? Like, so we can look back at Victorian fish keeping and kind of like see the elements that brought us to where we are now. Hello everyone that's coming in. Jeff Kane, Skipper's Aquarium. If you have any questions or any input on what I'm talking about, please feel free to chat in the chat or request to come up and talk. I'll send a link if anybody wants to join. Right now, I'm kind of like in the middle of the two topics. There's a link if anybody wants to join. Okay. Fortunately, they're on my phone. plugging in my phone. Ow. So we kind of went over how I feel like these books have a historical point, right? Like, let's see, how they have like a historical point, in their just being there. So they preserve the knowledge that has been accumulated over the past um, almost 200 years of fish keeping. So these books, especially from the beginning of fish keeping, right? At least as we know of right now, there's not a whole lot of texts that are available to me as an American about the evolution of fish keeping in other countries, right? So I would love to see them. The most I can find is Europe. A lot of these books have information that if we don't do anything, if we just let them sit in libraries, in people's collections, don't talk about them or preserve them, the information is going to be lost. And this is important in two ways, right? It's important because, how do I say, of just like hobby history, right? And then it's also important for species that no longer exist, or species that aren't typically kept anymore or aren't able to be kept anymore. So like from a scientific perspective, if there is a fish that used to be in the hobby that is no longer in the hobby because of its extinction status, its um, unavailability due to legal reasons, they can get information. They can get information from these old books. And if we as hobbyists don't preserve them, all this information is going to be lost, right? So it kind of acts as like this um, like storage of information, right? Like this big vault of knowledge in these books, right? And then again, like I was talking about, there's the how we can compare where we started from almost 200 years ago to now, and the techniques that we were using then, and the advancements that we've made now, and the influence that those had on us, right? Like, if the people in Victorian England never started fish keeping, would we still keep fish in glass boxes? Who knows? Also, they document a lot about how fish keepers or fish enthusiasts, right? Because fish keepers aren't the only people that like fish. And fishermen like fish, right? So not even just like hobbyist fishermen, like people who um, go out and do like food fishing, right? They like fish. Um, and that helps us a lot in the hobby too. So these books can also kind of see how the world has changed in like its view of fish, right? Like being going from something like that you eat to being something that you keep in your home, right? Like that's a huge change. Like this was like a deer, right? Like you wouldn't typically keep a deer in your house. It's like a nature thing, right? Like you go out and you look at a deer, or you go out and you hunt a deer. And you could go out to a beach and look at fish. You could go to a lake and look at fish, or you could go fish for food fish. Also, I believe that like the general interest in fish has helped has helped bring awareness to environmental issues, to I really hate to bring this up, but to like laws and even into politics, right? Because with in general, not speaking about anything that's happening right now, I don't want to. Either way, you go. I don't care. Um, but being able to trade fish is political, right? So, um, briefly touching on that subject and running away as fast as I can. We have fish really affect like every part of the world, and like being able to see these in these older books, right? Even from the 80s, and how they talk about fish compared to how we talk about fish now. We can see what has changed for whatever way, right? Let me drink some water. Look at the comments. Careful, Fifi. I don't remember what I did. I probably dropped something. Sorry, I'm driving. My responses might be slow. It's all right. I'm just yapping at this point. I'm just talking. I've been talking so much, I need to drink some water. Throat's getting dry. I'm all ice now. Hold on. I'm moving y'all on purpose, I promise. I didn't you. Hold on. Alright, 1 second. I'm going to grab some more water so I don't shake that exact. Okay. Pour some warm water into my ice. Awesome, I'm glad I could keep you company. I'm going to go back to my notes. Okay. I'm going to get into something a bit controversial here. Is having information about fish solely online a good thing? I don't think so. While having websites about fish increases how many people can search on Google, basically any question that they want. But we've seen this over and over again where we have amazing resources that never get updated and they become inaccessible instead of accessible, right? They become so hard to work with, right? We all know that without naming names, we all know websites that we go on to that have amazing fish knowledge and resources that are absolute trash. They look like they were created when the internet first came out. And the information is great, but the website is just hard to get through, right? I fear that as we progress through the internet, that's just going to get worse and worse. Things become obsolete all the time, right? We are always upgrading. We're never going to go back to those simpler websites, right? Like, we're never going to do that. Also, with things like websites or hosting platforms that host these informations, right? Like social medias, apps go down all the time, right? Things get deleted off the internet forever all the time. There used to be a saying, right, that the internet is forever, but it isn't anymore. So when I'm looking at, hello to everybody, hello, Jake and Kate, Kate or Katie? So when I'm looking at the internet as a resource instead of physical books, I get worried that that's not going to last forever. Like I said, with the issues with websites, apps becoming obsolete and getting deleted, and all the information on those websites is gone forever, right? And not only do we have to worry about that, we have to worry about AI, right? We all know if we've ever Googled something, Google AI pops up and it can give you the weirdest answers, right? It could be like, what color is the sky? And then Google AI would be like, it's green. Um, and just the way that these AIs work, right? They're not for a very long time going to be able to give you 100% accurate information all the time. They're just not advanced enough. And then we have people who use AI to make websites, to make blog posts, to even write books, right? That makes me wary of newer books. It makes me wary of information I find on the internet. AI can easily make up things that never existed, even if you have a highly trained AI model, right? It just simply not have that information and make up something without you telling it to do so. And then we get stressed out. I get stressed out trying to find whether information is real or not. And you know what I go back to? Older books. The information might not be 100% accurate, but it's a lot easier than trying to figure out if this AI-generated article on the top 10 whatever to whatever in a tank, is true or not. So why not I go and find an older book that has information on these, and then from that information talk to people on the internet and use the resource that way. Talk to people. Like, hey, I know you keep this certain type of fish. How do you keep it? Or you can go to another trusted resource to verify the information that you're reading, right? So that works both ways, from the internet to a book, from a book to the internet. Oh boy, okay, so I covered how I think it's important because of historical, educational, scientific, cultural ways, right? So let's talk about how we can use these books to move forward. We can go back and look at techniques that they used 100 years ago and rework them for the modern times, right? So we can go and we can look at this book that is from 1930, right? And we can look at the techniques they used. And be like, oh, that's really neat, actually. Maybe I want to set up a tank that looks like this, but with modern equipment, right? Or I like the species that they were keeping. Or I like the old style of tank, and I want to make one with better materials, right? This book was talking about how they don't have access to these kinds of plants, and they thought this would be cool. But now we have access to this, so I want to recreate their vision, right? So we can take a look back at these books and go, hey, that's really neat. Let me take this and make it my own. Do y'all have anything? Do y'all have like old tanks? Like, I have a Victorian tank that I need to get glass for. I have one of those, what are they, Metaframe tanks that I need to restore. I love those. Old tanks. Beautiful. Hello, welcome in. I know that I have a bunch of old tanks that I would love to, like the Victorian one I need to get new glass for. I'd love to find some like low iron and to like put like a rimless tank in the frame. I think that would be beautiful. With it's like cast iron, and it's like very intricate. I have to scrape off some of the rust and seal it and get new glass for it. But I think I could just fit like a frameless tank in there with like low iron, be able to set up a really nice thing. Check the chat. And I don't. I think it's nice. I've been looking at a lot of these older books too, trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about. And I'm looking at this. I'm grabbing this book called You and Your Aquarium by Dick Mills. And this one's from, this book is from 1986, right? I mean, this is a stunning book. It talks about buying your tank, what fish you should use, what filter you should use, using heaters, and talks about types of like biotopes that you can do or get inspired by, types of plants you can use. There's a whole chapter on tank design. The tank layout learns to give you basic ideas on which to build up your own individual furnace aquarium, right? So there's tropical freshwater, cold water freshwater, tropical freshwater soft, tropical marine, tropical freshwater hard, cold water marine, and it just gives like little illustrations and ideas. Like let's use tropical freshwater, soft to medium hard water, right? It gives you a couple of plants, and then it goes lime-free gravel. But in the cold water, freshwater, it's just any gravel. And then in the tropical freshwater heart, it says slate, calcareous rock, and ordinary gravel. Calcareous gravel, crushed coral for the tropical marine. So, like, you can definitely take a look at these older aquarium books and go, oh, I like that idea. Maybe I don't want an only slate aquarium, but maybe I can use that picture as reference and use a lot of slate in my tank, right? But basically, the point of Aquatic Archive and going through older books is not only to help bring awareness to these older books and hopefully get them in the hands of people who care, but also helping share the information that is lost in these books on people's shelves. Things that nobody would ever really think about. Showing the differences between 30, 40 years to 100 to 200 years ago than now. And the similarities too. I remember we were going through the Success with Cichlids from Lake Smawali and Tanganyika book, and they were talking about, I believe that's one also from, let's see, 1990 for the original German version. So it was probably written in the late 80s. It's just, I'm sorry, it was talking about not doing fish recycling in 1990, so over 35 years ago now, right? People now on the internet argue that that is something that, like, is recent, like within the last 10 years. But we're seeing in a book that it was a concept, right? That other people in the hobby were saying, hey, maybe don't put fish to cycle your tank, right? And then I just think it's really important that we keep this part of the hobby alive. I talked about all the reasons why I think we should. Now I want to ask y'all, with the one book that I've done so far, the Success with Cichlids from Lake Smawali and Tanganyika. I'm never going to be able to say that again. What would y'all want out of this book? Out of this, like, book club thing, would y'all rather see, like, newer books, like early 2000s to, like, the 2010s? Or do you want me to compare a book on the same subject from the 80s to now, like a more recent book? I'm waiting for the Diana Wallstead's newest version of her book to arrive. and then I want to read that and compare and contrast the second version to the, I think this is the fifth, fourth, fifth, and see how things change in the hobby. And like through her experience since she wrote the first book. Because looking at what she said, this is the second edition, and like all she did was update charts. Um, is that something y'all are interested in? Are you interested in like extremely old aquarium books from like the Victorian era? Would you be interested if I can try and get my hands on something from Asia? Let me see if I can make a poll. I'll take a break from talking. I've just been nonsense. Yeah. Alright, I've put up a poll. Let's see how that does. I'm going to grab I've talked too much. If y'all look, here, ish. I don't know if you can see that, but I have the Nerite and Medaka in that brand new tank. And I just wanted to give like a quick little update on the breeding food that I've been using since Sunday. And I don't know if it's the food or something else, but these Medaka have been producing a ton of eggs, a ton of them. So I'd say they're important. But I'll see, I'll keep using it. It could be that like I stopped their winter diet and started adding more food. Could be that I just switched the food, right? Alright, I found the link for the next stream. I don't know. I really talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. I will be putting out the Medaka video soon. Long form, regular video. I'm still getting some footage for that. I recently got a SD card, and I'm trying to figure out how my new little mic works. So hopefully the audio gets better from here on out, because I listened back to a part of one of the live streams by accident, and I don't know how y'all can stay here with the way that I sound. Y'all are great. Well, okay. I have a couple minutes left, so as always, join the Discord. You can talk to me there. I'm posting more on Instagram. I posted like 2 photos. That's so good for me. Still trying to set up the ladies' night. If anybody wants to join the Discord and ask for the role, I'll put out a message like once a month to see if people want to join. And then we can figure out what day we want to do that on. What time works for everybody and whatnot. Sunday's live stream is going to be a chit chat, but the topic is going to be on AI in fish keeping. I found some weird AI videos that I want to mention. I also want to bring up a chatbot and see if it can answer questions about fish keeping properly. I think that would be interesting. So Sunday, chat about AI and whatever else comes up, really. We'll see. It's going to be different from my normal live streams, but I hope y'all will enjoy it anyway. I'll put that up, like the little schedule thing up soon. I've been having problems with Restream. So we'll see how it works. But I think that's it. So, like I said, New Local Austin is next. I sent a link in the chat. Thank you for staying and chatting and hanging out. I'll see you in the chat, and I'll see you on Sunday for the AI stream. That sounds wrong. No. It's not a stream. It's a stream about AI, not a stream made by AI. But, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Give y'all some time to go over there.